Psychology of COVID-19. There are business leaders out there who achieve what they want. And there are all the others. Leading is a discipline, an art, not a talent. You can learn it, you can even master it. Make sure you get what you want. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, hello and welcome in the Live It, Lead It podcast. Today means we are in the middle of May. We talk about something that I was a bit worried about. Not about this COVID, SARS or Corona, however you call it, epidemic or pandemic that we have at the moment raging the planet. But to me, it was more, what's behind this? Why are so many people going crazy? And very happy that I have a professional person to talk to. Hi, Saab. How are you doing?
Hey, Olaf. How are you?
Very good. Very good. So we had this. You are a psychologist, and I need your psychologist head on today again.
Right.
What I see, and this is only my info bubble, other people may see other things there, is that especially in Germany, people love to be afraid, I think. So everybody goes crazy. There are, even before, as I said, we're in the middle of May now. In the beginning of April, when all of this started, seriously, no numbers were there. It was not clear, is this a flu on steroids, or is this more the evil brother of the Black Death from the Middle Ages? Nobody knew, and still nobody knows. But everybody got afraid immediately. And this herding of toilet paper and all of this is like legend. And I was like, why? I didn't get it. And this is what I would like to discuss with you today.
Right.
I believe behind every behavior that we can see which people execute, there's always a benefit behind this behavior for the person who executes this behavior.
Yes.
Otherwise, the person wouldn't do it. And it's the benefit for that person. It's not that I agree that this is the right behavior or that this is even the right benefit, but this is so assuming that people. Yeah, go on.
I think a better way to say not benefit, more of a way of coping with it, because a benefit could be seen as like a positive thing, but you can cope with your stress by smoking a cigarette or drinking alcohol, and that's a negative thing in a certain dose. So
I tend to disagree because you, as the outsider, call smoking a negative behavior because it's not beneficial for the health.
Yes.
When you talk to that person, this person only smokes because he feels better with the cigarette in the hand.
Of course.
So this is why I think it's not necessarily coping. I think it's really this further step. It's this person. This is the behavior which is beneficial for this person. So be it, classic example, why are so many people not doing sports and they know we should do sports? Well, because it's beneficial for them to Netflix around and eat crisps and just drink soda.
Right.
Yeah. So I agree. As I said, I agree from the outside. Other people may have other judgings on this behavior. But I believe that every behavior that we execute, that we show to our surroundings, is beneficial for us. At least this is the most beneficial for us. We have no other opportunities.
Right. That makes sense.
If that's the case, and let's leave it there. We don't need to necessarily.
Yeah, don't want to dwell on that too much.
Yeah. It's too. This is not the point. This is not what we are about. But where is the benefit of being afraid of? I don't get it. Why people run around like crazy and they buy noodles and toilet paper like there is no tomorrow. What's your take on this?
Yeah. So if I understand properly, like today we're discussing the psychological perspective of why people that are, intelligent or well balanced in other aspects of life kind of throw themselves into fear and panic.
Yep.
For me, it's a little bit similar to we spoke about how these days it's chic, it's in style to be busy. Like, don't talk to me, I'm too busy, I'm stressed, leave me alone, I have so
Yeah.
much going on. And that's because of humans. We're a reactive species, and especially these days we have a very reactive lifestyle. The reason for that is that reacting is safe, and it's a lot easier than being proactive. Okay, when you're proactive, you have to make decisions proactively, and it saves you. So not making these decisions proactively, reacting, yeah, it saves you from having that stress of, we have companies nowadays that do predictive analytics. Like, we try to analyze what happens, but we as humans, we begin, the last few decades, we have more and more things that will predict for us. So we're almost, a lot of us are useless. We don't know when it's going to rain. We don't know when it's going to, like, our phone tells us everything. We're pretty sure we're going to have some apps in a while about how to judge people's reaction. You take a video of someone and you like, oh, is he angry with me or is he happy with me? We're losing a lot of these basic instincts that we have. Yeah.
Dystopia.
So kind of switching back to COVID-19 or Corona. It's the core of the problem is that we do not know. And
Yes.
as humans, we fear what we do not know. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Fear of the unknown has kept us alive for thousands of years. For example, don't put your hand in this hole because it's possible that there's a poisonous animal. Okay. It's possible there's something in there that can hurt you. We don't know. So therefore we fear. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So because of the prevalence of misreporting, whether by an authoritarian regime such as China, which is the origin of the outbreak, they have a lot of domestic and international news outlet censors. So we in the beginning we weren't aware exactly of what was happening. One day there's only 10 people, and then it was 10,000. And then it was 100,000, but wait, maybe it was 80,000. And you heard a lot of excuses. There's also the fact that this virus manifests itself very differently in people. I've heard that up to 80% of the population are asymptomatic, meaning you have 0 to like very mild symptoms,
Mm-hmm.
right? It could be a cold. I'm really, really happy that I did not even get a cold or sniffles or anything during this time, because your mind just starts racing. Again, we come back to that fear. Even in countries that they're not communist and we have free speech and everything, the government has been so imbalanced. So, for example, here in Hungary, Olaf, where we are, you had, okay, everything is closed, no one is meeting anyone,
Mm-hmm.
but the barbershop is open and the hairdresser is open and the
Mm-hmm.
pet salon is open. Okay. So you're getting mixed messages. And, as a government, you should be clear, concise, and you should have a lot of clarity in what you're saying. And having mixed messages allows people's minds to wander. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And when you allow your mind to wander, you get a lot of people with all kinds of theories. So some people are like, it has to do with 5G. Some people are saying it's a biological attack. Some people are saying, it's a reason that the world elite wants us to get a vaccine so they can control us. So I'm sure you've heard all of these, whether online.
Try to avoid.
They try to avoid the conspiracy theories, but they're there. So, going quickly from the fear of the unknown into trying to explain things. These conspiracy theories are based on what we call in psychology teleologic bias, or it's a desire to believe that everything happens for a greater purpose. Um, you know, people want to come up with an explanation for tragedies, so they give a larger meaning to the event. Okay,
Right. Mm-hmm.
right, and so no one, regardless of your level of education, you could be a PhD, you could be a doctor, you're not immune to these feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people, in that we're familiar with, people that are very intelligent, whether online or in person, are spreading doubtful information. Um, they have no idea what they're talking about. Okay, um, how could someone that whether they have a PhD or not, or whatever level of their education, how could they know if even the WHO, the World Health Organization, doesn't know? For example, in January, we were literally told by the WHO that there's no evidence of human to human transmission of COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
So they were insinuating that it comes from animal to human, but there's no way that a human to human could pass it on. This was in January. Well, we're in May now, and half the world's been shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have the authorities, they're not giving correct information either. It's very easy to you know to kind of make your own ideas. They're even flipping. They were in the beginning flipping between telling people wear masks or don't wear masks.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember that a few weeks ago, now everyone's wearing masks. So it's natural that the people or even yourself could be going a little bit crazy, especially in the beginning. Um, you know, this does not happen with the regular flu, the regular influenza,
Mm-hmm.
but that kills a lot more people. Why do people that refuse to get their flu shots every year, now they spray sanitizer on everything and they refuse to leave their homes? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because they know the flu. It's not something new. It's not all over the news. It's not all over your Facebook feed. It's this COVID-19 outbreak panic, the hoarding of the essential supplies, the not going out, shutting everything down. It's a way for people to cope with something that they know nothing about. Now, I'm not advocating that shutting down, going into lockdown for a city was wrong. It's a way for the government to minimize the damage. It's in my opinion, it's a positive thing, but why do we not take the same level of care for other threats that we face? So you and I were talking, Olaf, the other day that death, it gives meaning to life.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not sure if you remember that.
Yeah, that was a very strong
Yeah,
statement. Yeah.
right. And it's true. It's very true. But many people in the West and other developed countries, this COVID-19 outbreak is the first time that they saw or experienced anything close to a war in their own country. Okay.
That's very true. Yeah.
Right. War has always been somewhere else for at least 2 or 3 generations. The other day I saw a video of an older Italian gentleman. He was really upset because the supermarkets were empty. And he was saying that, even at the height of World War II, they had more supplies. Like no one panic rushed and bought everything. Okay. A little bit going into a bit deeper into psychology. There's a psychologist who was named Abraham Maslow, and he spoke about a hierarchy of needs. So there are different levels of what people need.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Once you get past one level, then you can go to the other one. What I mean by that is, if you're starving, you're not worried about having the latest iPhone. If you're stuck in the street, you're not worried about what's going to be on TV. So you have a level of need. In the West and in other developed countries, we can take for granted that our most basic needs will be met. So the majority of us, I'm not saying everyone, but the majority of us don't need to worry about food or clothing or shelter or physical safety and security.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, all of this is under threat, meaning panic and hopelessness becomes a part of everyday life. For instance, um, in Asia, wearing a mask was normal for a lot of for many years due to um, SARS or like other viral outbreaks similar to COVID-19. This was in the early 2000s or before.
Yes.
In the West, this is new.
Mm-hmm.
None of these sicknesses have come over in like in as big of a number as this, and so it's all new for us, right? So the hoarding and the buying up of supplies when this began, it's a method of coping psychologically. So there's nothing you can do against the virus. I'm not a scientist. You're not a scientist. We're not going to find the cure. There's nothing we can do. There's only a certain amount of protection you can do. But what you can do is get supplies so you'll be ready. Meaning, just in case the stores run out, just in case everything is shut down for a long time, I'll be ready. Okay. People feel safer when they take steps, even though hoarding these supplies is not going to prevent you from catching the virus. So people that study panic, an actual panic itself is rare in a person. Usually under a crisis situation, most people, they tend to rally around one another because it boosts our chances of survival.
Mm-hmm.
This is another thing that's been in humans for a long time. So, oh no, everyone's going crazy. Yeah, but um, we were almost taught to work together. If 10 of us go on a hunt, we're starving. If 10 of us go on a hunt, we're more likely to catch a bigger animal. So we tend to work together.
Yep.
But you can disrupt that if you deprive people of the opportunity to act in a coordinated way. So if there's no trusted source of information, such as like now when the authorities are continually changing their story, you get a lot less of a coordinated response from people, and it becomes more of an individual, everyone for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know we covered a lot of topics now, but I want to kind of go conclude with this thought on fear. So earlier we spoken about how, for example, in Germany, people are kind of screaming at other people to, hey, go inside. What are you doing outside? You see a lot of like outside shaming, right? You see all these videos now of people
Outside
taking a
shame.
video, the outside shaming, like you see people taking a video from their balcony because they see someone walking their dog for the second time in a day, right? I think this is a response of people trying to do their part. So, Olaf, I think you're familiar with like neurolingual programming, NLP,
Absolutely.
right? So, the basic premise of that is the words you use and how you say them elicit a different response from people.
Yep.
Just for people that are not familiar with NLP, a lot of politicians have portrayed this COVID-19 outbreak as this generation's World War II effort.
Mm-hmm.
So you see a lot of comparison. This is our battle. This is our this. This is our it's especially relevant in England, of course, but in other places, war has become like synonymous with this virus. Like this is our war. This is our battle. There will be casualties. So it's almost like you're fighting a battle against an invisible enemy. So people are forced to come together as a nation, as a world, and this kind of appeals to people deep down. They won't tell you, but this kind of brings everyone together, and there is a more of a positive response. So hey, I'm having friends call me that I haven't talked to for years because they're checking up on me because we're all stuck in the house, right? And in social psychology, that this need to belong, it's called belongingness. It's this human emotional need to affiliate with and be accepted by members of a group. So there is no bigger group that you can be in than the entire world fighting an illness, right? So this is almost a secondary gain psychologically for many people. So a lot of people that did not identify with anyone, or they had a hard time identifying with anyone, can now identify with everybody. Hey, we're all fighting the virus. We're all together in this.
It's
right?
us
We all need
against
to,
them. Okay, yeah.
us against them. Yeah, we all need to stay together. And so when someone threatens this group, the person that goes outside and doesn't care and doesn't wear a mask, they're shunned in the same way that someone would be if they did not do their part in like a primitive society. If you didn't help with the hunt, if you didn't help with the crops, why are you here? What good are you? You're basically a threat to our survival, right? And so that's why there's such a like a strong like psychological response of seeing someone outside and they're not doing anything. So this was a lot of different. We touched on a lot of different layers, and this just shows how complicated people are.
Let me
Yeah,
take two or three picks here, because
sure.
as you said, this was a lot of thoughts and insights.
Yeah,
Let me start with the war
yeah,
comparison.
yeah.
I'm seriously think how to start this without going in prison for this.
Yeah.
This is, I understand when you sit there in the 1940s and there is another
Yeah.
army coming and
Yeah.
people tell you you're at war.
Yeah.
Because there you have always options. You can do something, you can ignore, you can adapt, you can learn the language, whatever. Telling the people they are now at war against somebody who is not there, who is potentially not even existent, and you can't do anything.
Yes.
Is from my point of view the highest incarnation of unresponsibility of leaders against the public. So and I leave it there. Calling this a war. War means here is the enemy and I can do something. At the moment, doing something, you said it shaming outside. No, how do you call this?
Outside shaming.
If this, it makes sense. They tell us we are at war and they tell us we cannot do anything. So I do my part, and this is then this Blockwart behavior. I'm not going into this. It's a German phrase, but the best thing that I can do then is send my neighbor walking the dog on TikTok and shaming him for them.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Okay. So it's good to have high quality, well trained leaders who lead our countries and who. Meine Güte. Okay, so good. Let's leave it there. Okay, so the other part. Here's my theory or my thesis. Being afraid is my decision. Being afraid is my decision. There is this in my info bubble some people. I haven't had reasonable conversations for a while. On emotional topics or on topics that people make emotional, and for a while means maybe 10, 15 years, because people just get polemic and aggressive. And the newest flash is a very stupid comparison of the image is like, here is the zoo, and the speakers say the tigers broke out and everybody has to leave the zoo. And then they repeat some arguments that people have on this COVID thing, and especially it's about breaking ground laws.
Yeah.
And I don't like this comparison, but this comparison shows me where they are emotion-wise. To me, the big thing is, why do I or do so many people allow themselves to be afraid? So I'm not talking about being careful. Okay, we hear there is this flu coming from Asia and there are potentially people dying off of it. And I'm now in my brain back, let's say mid-February 2020, where all of this was more myth-driven than facts-driven, and it's still not facts-driven, which to me is a shame. Being careful. Okay, I don't fly. Okay, I don't hug foreign people. Okay. Maybe I think about the what-if scenarios. There is not one what-if scenario which leads me to buy 12 tons of toilet paper. It's just not there. So the difference to me is between being careful and think about this and allow myself to be afraid. Maybe, what's your take on this? Why did so many, and still do so many people, allow themselves to live in fear. My parents live in fear. I mean, yes, they are a target group for this COVID thing, but this is serious fear. This is not like, reasonable carefulness. This is serious fear. Well, what's your take on this?
So we like we said, we spoke about that reactive. People are reactive, okay, and this fear, it's an instinct that we have. It's almost like let's say you're flying a plane.
Yeah.
Okay. The fear is the autopilot that kicks in that will keep you safe. No matter what, the autopilot is going to make you land. It's like an automatic mode that we go into since we're children.
Yep.
Right. So it's very easy to slip into this. I'm not talking about careful, because do you remember, careful, it takes predicting, it takes evaluating, it takes you to say, okay, okay, I'm not going to go to the gym because there's a lot of people there. They don't clean the machines, or my particular gym, or whatever. Cool. That's being careful.
Yep.
I'm not going to leave this house for the next 5 months. That's fear.
Yeah.
You don't need to evaluate. You don't need to decide anything, right? You don't need to, like you said, okay, I'm not going to hug this person. I'm not going to fly. I'm not going to go here. You have to put your brain into its soft little, jello mode of not making any decisions. Because if you don't make a decision, then you always make the right decision. Because there is no decision.
That's
right?
Evil.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's evil, because it uncovers a lot of behavior. Ooh, okay. This is. I think I need to make sure that this episode doesn't go into the wrong hands. No, seriously. I'm thinking about close family.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. So being afraid means I stay reactive. I don't need to think. I don't need to decide. I don't need to take responsibility.
Yes.
And just crazying and fearing around and being afraid and just blaming my neighbor on TikTok. Is the easy way, because I just go with the flow, and everybody buys toilet paper. Well, then I buy toilet paper.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes total sense to me.
So you don't make a decision. You just shut everything off. You shut everything. You shut your life down for 5 months, and then you're good to go. And when you see people that are not ruled by fear, but that are ruled by being careful and being ruled by intellect, it kind of bothers you deep down. So I'm not talking about you see someone outside and they're not wearing a mask. No. I'm talking about you see someone wearing a mask, but they do go to work, but they're careful. They evaluate when to go to the store or which store to go to, because there's less people here or there's more people here, so I need to be careful. But that kind of bothers people deep down, because they want everyone to be like them and just be reactive, right? So that would be my main thesis about why it's very easy to slip into fear.
And I think we leave it there.
Yeah.
This was lots of nuggets, I think, in this episode.
Yeah.
Because it explains a lot. It unveils a lot of people pretending they know what they do, but when you look at it, you have the feeling that something is not as you think. I think now you've unlocked, or you opened a lot of books. I think this is extremely helpful for audience. And as I said, I need to take care that some parts of people around me so better.
Right.
No, maybe we put this episode behind a wall or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Musab, thanks very, very much.
Yeah.
And I think, as spontaneous as we are, we pick up several of those points, especially the reactiveness and the fear part. And we will talk next week about change. Because I can see 12,000 bridges into leadership. Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
So, thanks very much, everybody. Have a great one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.